So I'm back with a special guest, my guest, good friend of mine,
PayBack.
PayBack, and we here just wrapping it up and discussing a few things. So we're gonna just jump right into it. So the first topic that I have here for you, PayBack, is I was having a little back and forth with a friend of mine, a Gen Z young man, and we was discussing about the marriage, single parent homes, the violence, the different things that ultimately affect our communities. And I was stating that things have drastically went up, and he was stating that it has it is better now. But I vehemently disagree with that.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna run off some numbers, pay back, and you give me a point of view at the numbers of some of my research. It's not gonna be everything. I don't want to be long winded, but it's gonna be a couple of important, vital information here. So my first statement here is black adults also make up the largest share of the never married percent of 25 to 29-year-old black women and 18% of 55-year-olds were never married as of 2016. Second point here, black adults have the highest divorce rates and the lowest marriage rate. However, according to research, they also marry at later ages 32 for men and 31 for women. My next point here is in 2023, nearly half, 49.7% of all black children live with one parent, compared to about 1 in 5, 20.2% of white children. Today, 37% of black children are living in a home headed by their own two biological parents, and 48% are living in a home headed by a single parent, and 4% are living in a step family with one biological parent and one non biological parent, according to the March 2020 current population survey. Next point, marriage rates for black Americans have declined dramatically, with a significant drop from 61% in 1960 to 32% in 2008. In 2023, there are about 1.18 million black families with a single father living in the United States. This is an increase from the 1900s when there were went from 1990 when there were 472,000 black families with a single father in the United States as of 2024. My next point is between 1970 2023, the proportion of children living with their mothers in single parent households has increased from 29.5% to 44.2% for black youth, and from 7.8% to 16.1% for white youth. Now, my next point, foreshadowing our results, find that black men and women were married in greater proportion than white men and women until 1960 for men and 1970 for women. Now here's the numbers for all of the different races of different generations. Baby boomers marriage rate was quite impressive when there were 18 to 32 years old at 68%. Baby boomers marriage rate second highest after the silent generation with an 85% marriage rate in 1968. The millennials marriage rate is amongst the lowest. 55% of adults aged 18 to 32 in 2019. The Gen Z marriage rate is still relatively low compared to other generations. Only 8%. My next point, the share of ever divorced black women was 38.9% in 2000, in 2016 compared to 34.4% for whites, 13.9 for Asians, and 33.7 for Hispanic women. Now, single parents as of 2023, single mothers. Black 47%, Hispanic 25%, white 14%, Asian 8%.
How
Okay,
much you say? How much you say for
now
black woman? That last part?
47%.
Mm, I think it's more than that, bro.
Well, listen, I have a lot more research than that, but I
Mm,
didn't want to be long-winded.
right.
But the young man challenged me, and he doesn't, he doesn't know me as well as you know me. As I'm an avid reader, and I do my due diligence in reading and researching. So, he challenged me and was saying, that a lot of things are better, and I just I disagree with that because we in a terrible state now with the families, and that's why I read out some of the statistics so you could better understand how it has diminished throughout the generations and years, and how like we're not getting married as much as we used to be. We
Right.
are not very in the realms of being together as a family. I think it's been stripped from all races, not only just black, but it's a real issue that we have here. So what are your thoughts about some of the research that I've gathered, and give me your personal assessment on what I've read and what you have seen?
Well, the young man that you spoke of about the rate has been as getting better. It's getting better. It get better for for some things, but in none of those categories is better. None. Everything went downhill in all that category that you're talking about, because all that category have to do with family, and none of that category have a significant improvement. None. From whatever time the census or the research start, everything is diminished from that time until now. Nothing has improved. I would say the only thing is that improve is black, because we're talking about black women now. We're not saying that, oh, comes the Hispanic this. No, we're not talking about that, because I'm black and you are black, and you're a father and I'm a father, so we can speak of it. Okay. All right. So the only thing better in the black community right now is black woman is getting money. Okay. They're getting their money, they're getting their bag, and majority of them are doing well. I wouldn't say half, but most of them are doing well. Okay. That's the only part that I would say that's improved with black women. Some of them are getting the bag. That's about it. But when it comes to family, no, no, because everything that you just mentioned in that census, there's no improvement since that time until now. I also even heard a debate saying that things was better during Jim Crow time, which is a fact because the family was intact, even though we was going through a lot and we are going through discrimination and whatever you call it back then. segregation and back then, the family was intact back then comparing to now. Right now, we are free. We can do whatever we want. We can take planes. We can take buses. We don't have to sit in the back of the bus. 2025, 2024, 2023, whatever. We're supposed to be doing better as a nation. That's what I'm saying. Come together. But I don't know what's going on with our race. But every time, we somebody try to improve, they tear them down or they put them down or whatever. Because it's all around you. It's all around you. Even on social media, even on the TV, you can see it. And I'm going to show you what do you call it? A little social media thing. Even though it looked like it's a joke, but if you take a look at it and if you look deep into it, that's the standard. There's a there's a social media platform called the Pop Balloon. You ever seen it before?
No, I don't. I haven't
There's a
heard
dating
about
it's a dating show on the internet called the Pop Balloon. A lot of people take it as joke. A lot of people take it as it's not anything serious. But if you take a look at it, it's serious. That's the standard of the dating market it is at this moment. Plenty of guys come up, in suits and stuff, and the lady say, I don't like you because your shoes it doesn't match, and your shoes it doesn't. They're not looking at the man's character. They're not looking at that. They're looking at, I don't like your shoes, I don't like your haircut. That's what I'm saying, which he can get a better haircut and he can change his suit. But they don't care about that. That's what I'm saying. The only
it.
time they care about character is when the dude got a lot of gold chain and he have a bunch of gold tooth in his front teeth, right on his front teeth, and then he got a whole lot of tattoos. Then he look hood enough, and then they consider that as masculinity. But you cannot consider that as masculinity because okay, there's two things. You get people saying that there's alpha and there's masculinity, right? The alpha is the guys that go out there and they fight and do all type of stuff, but they don't last long. They are on the front line, just like you have the army. They're on the front line. They're the one that die first because they rush into battle and they die first. So the masculine man that provide and have the family is in the back. That he make sure, hey, I got enough bullets. Hey, I got enough this. Let me stay here so I can endure the fight. If the fight drag out, I'm back here. So whenever everybody fall, whatever, half of if we lose half of the soldiers, we are back here. We step in. So the little alpha dude, the alpha males, they rush in and they go forward and they are the collateral damage. They die first. You see what I'm saying? The alpha males are the one out here on TikTok wearing bonnet, doing all of that shit. You see what I'm saying? The alpha males are the one that get indoctrinated fast, meaning that the rainbow culture and all of that shit, they are the one that get caught up first. You see what I'm saying?
I hear you.
Right. So
I hear you. I hear you.
everything is diminished now, bro. Everything is downhill right now, bro. And I don't see any improvement of it because the reason why I don't see any improvement and I don't think it's going to be better because we have many different blacks across the world. And if you go into majority of the black culture, it's the same thing. The single mom in a pandemic, the young youth, they don't have any father, none of that stuff. So if you improve this side, if you improve this side of the culture, try to improve the black, the next black over there is diminishing. So I don't see any improvement on it at all. I know I'm all over the place with this, but I'm just trying to cover
No, no,
everything.
I get because it was a lot that I read, so I
Ru-
understand you trying to
Right.
tackle
So I'm just trying to show
different.
you how, if you try to fix this is diminished. If you go over there and try to fix that, it's like You try to patch a tire and you got an old tire tube and it got holes in it, and each time you patch this, then you patch that, the other one there's another hole on the other side. So I don't see any improvement, bro. The only thing,
But this
the
is what
only
this,
go ahead.
this is what I was trying to explain to him. Because sometimes when you talking to these young guys, right, they take it as if you're shooting at their generation. But I'm not sure. I wasn't shooting at his generation because it's partly, our generation fault for not teaching the next generation the way we were taught. So I'm not. It's not all on the new generation because a lot. I feel like for our generation, we didn't pass down what was passed down to us. You see what I'm saying? Like some of us went off the rail because we wanted our children to be better off than where we were. So we didn't pass down the stuff that we have learned as far as like cooking, like reading the map, knowing how to write, knowing how to build stuff, climbing trees, knowing how to survive outside. Like I think a lot of that is missing now to where, we solely, a lot of us just depend on social media, internet, gadgets, TV, you know, it's just different now. So I don't blame the new generation for what it is because it's the generation job before them to teach them, what it is that we were taught.
Right, right, right. And a lot of and what you got to blame too is the what do you call it? I'm not sure. I'm not really sure what it is because I was gonna say something, but when I look at it, when I look back at it, it's different because I was gonna say we have to blame the young mothers, right? But when I look back at it in the baby boomers and the silent generation, they also have young mothers. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah, in the baby boomers and the silent generation coming down, they also have young mothers because they marry at 19, 18, 17. So they have young mothers as well. And if you fast forward to now, the young mothers, I don't know what's going on with the young mothers now, these days. It's what I'm saying. So
I
to
think
the,
it's a collection of different things, though. It's not just you can't really pinpoint it on one thing. It's a collection of different things. I think now we have adapted the norm of jumping from relationship to relationship. The importance and value of family has drastically changed. It's not what it once was because that was the norm back then. That's why the rates were so high, before the '60s, and they started decreasing after the '60s. That's why I read all of those numbers. So yes, it might look like now the marriage rate is low, but there's a lot of discrepancies with that. It's because they're not getting married at a high frequency rate. It's different now. So it's only at like 8%. And for black people, we are the highest of people that don't get married. You know what I'm saying? And then we are the highest that get divorced.
yeah,
So you got to look at all of the numbers, and that's what I try to explain to the young lad about. Can't pick and choose. You got to read whole
that
context of.
that young lad, that young lad that you're talking about, that you're talking about, I know why he said that. And he's coming from a certain corner of the black community why he's saying that. Trust me. Be- because the thing is, there's two things why he's saying that, right? Probably many different things why he's saying that. But I'm gonna point out some things why he said that. The young man saying that is improve The marriage rate is improved from his eyes, right? He said that maybe he have a father and maybe he have a mother inside the house, both parents inside the house. So he just look at it as, this is my experience, so I'm gonna talk from my experience, right? That's number one. Number one and number two, go together. So number two is, yeah, probably you have both parents in the house, but he never left his zip code. He go from school to work, or from work back home. So he doesn't really leave his city like that. And maybe you have two-parent household, right? Okay. Another thing, maybe he don't have no parents in the house. Maybe it's a single mother, and maybe the single mother have a stepfather there, and the stepfather is in the house for a while. Okay, and he saw that whatever it is, and probably the stepfather turn around and marry his mom with other children. You see what I'm saying?
It's all possibilities. I
It's all
don't
it's all
know
it's,
his.
it's all
It's,
possible.
I,
It's all
I,
possible.
but he was reading. He was reading from data that he researched. So I was telling him that you know, you know me you know me that I read. I'm for like information, do community work. So you've been around me, so you know my mentality. So he was just trying to say that this is my personal feelings, and I'm like, brother, I've been researching for years and reading for years. This is something that I know wholeheartedly. I'm a father. I've been married, so I've gained the experience with different things as well, along with the research. So we got to be accurate to what's going on nowadays. You can't be inaccurate because you're trying to protect your generation, or you want to be biased to different things. You have to step outside of your bias. You know what I mean?
And yeah, and there's a whole lot of bias out there these days, especially some of these dude on their podcast. That's what I'm saying. Because some of these dudes, they don't really give a shit about the research, the real research, because there's a lot of research out there that you can research. But some of these research are old. You have to check the dates. Like for example, you see how you say from that time until 2023, because you look for
Hmm.
the right research, and you give us up to date from that time until this time, right? 2023, which is good. That's what I'm saying. It's 2023, which is good because right now you're like what, a year and a half, a year and some change off on that research. So that research is accurate. That research is good because some of this research is from a 5 year to a 10 year span. You see what I'm saying? So that research is good.
Right.
But going back to some of these podcasters, they lie to this woman to get followers. They lie because they want followings, even though they know and they see what's going on. They lie to these women, and that's what these women want. They don't want nobody to check them and nobody to say anything to them about their behavior and their wrongdoing. They just want you, go girl, you're doing good. You're a queen, and you're this and you're that. So they just keep going. But if you try to check them, they say, "Yo, you're toxic. You're what do you call it? You're zesty, and you're this and that, just to shame you, just to shut you down because they don't really want to hear the truth. They don't really want to hear the truth. So a lot of dudes bow down. That's what I'm saying. They bow down. I call them they go along to get along dudes. That's what I'm saying. They just go along to get to the box. It's all about the box at the end of the day, bro. Even even some of these pro blacks. So I'm saying this Umar Johnson type, they just gas up this woman head just to get to the box. And once they get in box every day, every week, they just lie. They just keep it going.
But my thing and my issue with a lot of people when they're speaking on things, just tell the truth. Like, come from both sides of the coin. You can't fully blame you can't fully blame one thing for everything that's going on. It's a plethora of different things on why it's happening the way it's happening. I think with a lot of people, they pick and choose to benefit their answer. But you have to go and do your due diligence and research and everything and give the people accurate information. Sort of like the Bible, right? You ever hear
Hmm.
people talk about the Bible? And I've read the Bible. I read the whole Bible. I read about two different Bibles. I'm on my third one. Read the
Hmm.
entire book. But you ever been around a person that quotes the Bible and quotes scriptures for what they believe, but they don't give you the entirety of whatever they quoting? You ever been around people like that?
Of course, a lot. Yes.
So that's
I've
what I'm
seen. Yeah, I've
saying.
seen.
Like that that type of that type of when you're given that type of information, you have to give it in full context. Don't leave out parts. And there's a lot of stuff that I didn't read, right? But that's a lot of information. I didn't want to overwhelm you and overwhelm people that's watching. So, it's so much information on that because the they give the breakdown to everything. They give the breakdown to different countries. They give the breakdown to different races. They give the breakdown to how much people are being parents to their children. Just money. They give the breakdown to everything. But my thing is, do your accurate research. Stop regurgitating what you hear and go out there and do the research. So that's my point on that.
I agree. I agree. I agree with you on that one. But listen, we're getting hit from all handle at this point, from every direction in our community and in our family. So I'm saying, because there's a lot of things that I saw what's going on over the years. We're getting hit. Okay, we're getting hit. We our woman is being indoctrinated. So I'm saying, telling them that you don't need no man, you can do all this all by yourself, right? So when the women hear that, it trickle down to their kids, right? Saying that you're strong and you're independent and you don't need no man and you can do this all by yourself, right? So when they get that, they say, you know what? Yeah, I don't need no man, so I'm gonna go out there and I'm gonna get this money. So these women out here, they go out there and they get their money. Okay, I don't have anything against any woman that make their money. Most of them go out there and they make their money, and they have this family. They have probably two or three children, or maybe four, or maybe one, right? So you go out there, you got your own apartment, your own this, your own car. That's the apartment is one payment, your car payment is one payment, your light bill is one payment. So you're out there working to keep a roof over your head, and you have one, two, three, four, or five children, right? So you're not gonna have time for your children. Your children is in the daycare, right? While you at work. So the daycare teaching your children, got other women around your children teaching them, right? At the daycare. So by the time you come home, you pick up your kids from the daycare, you give them something to eat, they're in front of the TV getting indoctrinated, right? Once they're in front of the TV, it's time for bed. So they don't really have much time around the mothers. The mothers are at work 5 or 6 days or even 7 days a week, because most of them, the lifestyle that they live in, because if she have 2 or 3 kids, there's a boy in the mix. So she have to get a 2 bedroom house, because the rules say you got to have a 2 bedroom house, the boy in his own room and the girl is in her room, right? And so some of these apartments are expensive when it comes to 2 or 3 bedrooms. So sometimes they have to go out there and get 2 jobs, right? So the kids are in the daycare until a certain time, and by the time they get home, they don't have time for the children. You just have to cook the children a meal, give them a shower, watch a TV a little bit, and then they go back to bed. And then they go to bed. So they don't have time for the kids, but they're still going because they think that they are strong and they're independent and they can do this. And then when those kids get to teenagers, get out of hand, then you can't talk to these kids. That's the time you want to give the kids to their father. You see what I'm saying? I'm not saying
Right.
all now. Most of it is like that because some of them, their father come pick them up on the weekend, stuff like that. But a majority of them is like that. They keep the kid away from their father because they can do it by themselves, or the father end up in jail, or the father die, or something. So we're getting a hit from different, handle of things in the community, right? And another thing, some women go out of their way to pick criminals, right? Criminals. This dude get out of jail, or he's in and out of jail. He got swag. He tell this woman all the nice things, right? And he's not gonna be there that long because he have kids with her. That's what I'm saying. She have two kids or one kid or 3 kids with him. He go back in jail or his homies killed him. So that's another fatherless kid right there. That's what I'm saying. Or the dude have 5 baby mamas, so he can't be there for five kids from 5 different baby mama. You see what I'm saying? And some of this is self-inflicted wound, bro. Some of this is self-inflicted, right? I'm not talking
I
about
agree.
I'm not talking about
I agree.
a small amount of women that their husband died, and whatever it is, their husband died, and they're a widow, whatever it is. That's what I'm saying. I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about the ones who go out there and do it on purpose because they want to feel good. That's what I'm saying. And that's one spectrum. And there's another one is the government. The government get involved. The government tell this woman, you're strong and you're independent. You don't need no man. When you get this kid, is a transactional situation. You can get child support for these kids without a man in the house. So that's one of the reasons why the family unit diminish for the past 10 years, because some of these dudes are getting beat with child support and they're broke.
But you notice that the numbers started decreasing when they first implemented all of those things that you just talked about in the 70s. See how the numbers were decreasing drastically as I read them out, right? It all
Yeah, of
started in
course.
the
Yeah.
70s. It all started back then.
But it's worse. But
So,
it's, it's, it's worse now.
but I agree with you when it comes to all of those points because a lot of things have become society norm, and even in other countries now, some of the countries have adapted this way as well, and it's destroying families. And when we was coming up, families were the foundations of the community. Now it's not. Now it's just like, all right, I move on, I go to somebody else, and it's not the same, and it's too much divide. And I think with all of that too, it has leaked on to why these kids are out here doing more violent things, more killings at a younger age now. Um, in the 80s and 90s, we had the crack epidemic, but we didn't have as many children killing people the way that they're killing people now. See what I'm
Right.
saying?
Right. So let me ask you a question. With these young Gen Z out there, shooting each other and robbing each other, Why? What do you think they're doing it for?
I mean, it's different reasons from because you was out there with me when I was doing the Black Man United, mentoring kids, bringing my kids with me, having feeding the homeless and all of that stuff. There's different things to it. I don't think before back in the days were respected. People actually follow the leaders. Now people are not doing it. It's like a gravitational pull with negativity. So a lot of negativity is controlling the masses.
For
So it's a
for
lot of
me,
materialism.
for me, I think there's step to this, because if you ask me that question and you said, why are these young dudes um out there shooting each other and killing each other, getting money, I would answer the question as in, listen, there's levels to this. These young dudes out there shooting, killing each other to get money, right? To get money. And when they get the money, they buy cars and they buy chains and all that stuff to impress who? To impress women, to impress the little girls around them. Okay? To impress the little girls around them. Listen, let me tell you something, bro. The women in our community, they are very, very, how can I say it? Influence over these young boys. They got a lot of influence over these young boys. If this woman decided that, listen, we got it, because right now is the women that are, what do you call it, running the community at this point. There's no man running the community right now. It's the women. All these dudes talking about alpha dudes and you know they are the alpha dudes in the community. No, it's the women running the community at this point, not the men. So all of this going on is because of the women that's running the community at this point. They will say no payback. Why do you say that? Why do you say that? Let me give you a perfect example. I think about 10 years ago, more than 10 years ago, there was a there was a group. I think it was in Detroit. They call them the Detroit 300, where a lot of the older dudes in the community, in that community, that decided that, listen, there's too many young guys, in the community at night, running the streets, so we have to clean it up, right? So they formed the Detroit 300, meaning that the men in the community come together, all 300, and start cleaning up the community. These young boy on the street at night, and they tell them, listen, you need to get off the street and you need to go home. Guess who shut it down? Guess who called the police on these men? Guess who did that? The women in the community saying that, yo, you can't talk to my son like that. You need to leave my son alone. And they call the cops on these men and they shut this shit down. Even though the guys are trying to help the community to get these young boys off the street at night. Because listen, if these young boys on the street at night at 11 o'clock, young boys, teenagers, young adults, where's their parents? Where's their mom? Where's their mom at? Because most of these dudes are living with single moms. Where they at? So there's many different levels to this, and I don't think so. Maybe I'm naive, or maybe I'm being too harsh, but I don't see anything getting any better. You just have to take your family and jump ship and create another tribe. That's how I see it. Create another tribe somewhere else. Leave the hood. It's not gonna get any better.
I was thinking when I first met you and I was trying to do the community work and trying to bring people together, you warned me. You was like, look, man, you got a good heart, but you're gonna bump your head with this one. Remember the
Yeah, I told
conversation?
you that. I told you that because there's listen. I'm the type of dude. I sit and I observe and I watch people movements around me. I'm not talking about like sit down and watch one person. No, I always watch my surroundings. I you know me. I travel a lot. So I go amongst many different culture and tribe to see how they act and to see how they behave and see how their family dynamic is. That's what I'm saying. Dynamic is. I go around and I check and I see how they do stuff and I see how they. So our culture, our culture, there's a lot of good things there still, like the cookout. Everybody come together at the cookout, Thanksgiving. All of that stuff. It is still there. If what do you call it, if a black woman is in the street and another guy beating on her, all the men jump in and say, yo, leave that woman alone, even though sometimes she created that problem. But the man, they if a black woman is out there getting beat up, the man will come around and say, yo, leave that woman alone. They come to her defense. There's still a lot of good things there, but they're not trying to challenge. They're not trying to what do you, how can I say it? They're not trying to put the good in other aspect of it where it need to be. They're just putting it somewhere else. You see what I'm saying? Because all the good things are in the cookout and the family get together. Or if you see another culture try to beat up on a woman or a black man, we come together. But we're lacking other areas, bro. Bad.
Well, I gotta push back. I gotta push back on something you said.
Uh huh.
You said about Thanksgiving and stuff. I feel like we in this country we don't have culture. We haven't
No, we don't.
created
We
our
don't.
own.
We don't. We don't. We don't. We don't. Actually, you know what? America itself don't have no culture because America we taken from um America as a whole. We're taken from different culture to make it ours, right or wrong?
I agree.
Because America
I
we
agree with that.
celebrate we celebrate Easter. We celebrate Cinco de Mayo. We celebrate St. Patrick's Day. We celebrate all type of shit in our community. So we don't really have no culture like we don't have none. We don't have none. We eat in the black community we eat tacos for dinner. We eat this and that. We eat pasta. So we don't really have no culture like that on a whole. We don't.
Yeah, that's one of the things I pushed back on. I was just like, we don't. If you do the history and research it, a lot of this stuff that we celebrate is not our culture.
No, it's
We
not.
celebrate other people's culture. So I mean, there's a whole lot of we could be talking for days about this stuff. But my whole point of view is I wanted to get your assessment on this for my young lad because he thought I was just speaking. He didn't know that I had all this research. But it's I hope one day it gets better. But I'm like you. I don't see it getting any better.
I don't
I
see it getting any better. If
don't see it
if I
getting
was an
better.
elder, if I was the elder and you was a youngin, and you come to me and say, "Payback, I want to get your advice. I'm 19 years old and I want to start as a family." I would, what do you call it? I would have to tell him, listen, I would tell you, listen, I will come back to you in a couple of days and try to map something and give it to you so you can go off. Because the reason why I said that, because if I give you certain information and you take the information and you go do this, you can end up getting fucked in the long run. Like if you go this way and have a kid, you can be on child support, right? If you go this way and get married, you can be in divorce. Because let me tell you something, Naeem. I don't know if you're going to agree with me on this one, but listen, these days, having a kid, it doesn't guarantee that you're going to be together for the next 3 years. Because when these young folks or older folks get together and they're fucking, it's all good when they're having sex. But once that baby come along, oh, we gotta go. He gotta go. She gotta go. It don't last. There's no guarantee. The black relationship is 3 years or less. It used to be five back then, but now it's 3 year or less. 3 years or less. Once the baby born, oh, I can't deal with him. I can't stand him no more. I can't stand her no more. It's not gonna last. So there's no
It ain't
guarantee,
it,
bro.
it ain't for me to agree. That's one of the numbers that I said. Everything is going up with a single parent. Even being a single father has went up. So you're right. Relationships aren't lasting, but there's different reasons for that. I think a lot of people are chasing perfection when they get into a relationship. They don't realize that perfection is impossible. It's impossible for you to find somebody that's perfect. You're gonna go through issues. You're gonna go through problems. And what I realized too is a lot of people don't know how to communicate effectively. They communicate to argue, or they communicate to respond. So, you know, in order for you to resolve any situation that's at hand, you have to learn how to listen, number one, and learn how to communicate without being disrespectful, without cursing, without calling people names. Learn how to agree to disagree. So there's many issues with that. Uh, like I said, we'll be here all day talking about this because there's so much research on it, and along with the research, right, it's experience. And between you and I, we have a ton of experience with different things. So that changes the dynamics as well when you have experience in these things. But hopefully, man, I pray that things change. I pray that people get it together and start sticking together. But the violence is up. Kids are dying at younger ages now. So
I
it's,
don't,
it's
I don't, I
crazy.
don't, I don't see it at all. I don't see it. You know, I saw something over the years, and I'm still looking at it, and I'm surprised nobody else catch on to it yet, right? There's a small little town overseas. I'm not gonna name the country. There's a small little town overseas that everybody know each other in that town, right? This small town is um is in the mountains, right? Very populated. Everybody know each other, and then you have to go through a lot of small town, pass through a lot of small town, to get to that town. And then when you get to that town, you gotta pass that town. You got different pockets of small town, right? And this is what they do in Naim. 100 people, I think about 100 or more people come together and they put their name in a book, right? So when they put their name in a book, right? If like the mom and the dad, or if they want to put the kids in there as well in that book. So whenever somebody died, an elder or even somebody young died in that family, everybody have to give $100 to that family that died. So if you sign up the book and you have 3 people in your homes, you have to give $300 of their money to that person who died. and that person take the money and bury the family, have a funeral for the family. So, for example, Naeem, you have to give $300 because you got three people in your household, and at that time you cannot give anything. Okay, you don't have any money that day, so you and your family member have to go to their house to volunteer. Is either you bring rice, right? Is either you bring rice or other grocery stuff to drop off. Plus, you got to paint their house and you got to sweep the yard or whatever it is, clean up the yard, you know, cut the grass. You have to volunteer at the home if you don't have any monetary, if you don't have any money to give. You have to go to the house and volunteer your service. Help the widow, clean the house or whatever it is if you don't have any money. If you have the money, you send it over there and they use that money to prepare a funeral and help them get out of their situation because probably the father died and he can't provide for the family anymore. So that they collect all that money and give to that family, and then the list goes on and on and on and on and on and on and on. That's how they do it to take care of the community, because in that community there's not a lot of industrial, like go get a McDonald's or a factory work or none of that stuff in that community. They are all farm people. They are all farmers. That's what I'm saying. They go to the farm and they get paid whatever it is, and they have the little shops or whatever. So that's how they solve the situation in that town. You see what I'm saying?
I see. I
So
hear you.
nobody have to be, when they, family member passed away, they don't have to worry about, listen, I'm broke, I cannot, have a funeral for my mom or my dad or my cousin, whatever it is. They take care of each other in that community, and they have to sign a book. If you don't have any money, you have to go over there with whatever you have, whether it's rice or meat or whatever. You have to bring it over there and volunteer your service.
I mean, you already know that's really not going to happen in our society over here. So
Right.
you know that's not gonna happen. It's too much selfishness. People don't care. Greed, lust, temptation, envy, all of that is a huge plague over in our society. So I mean, it's crazy, man. But I also want we're gonna move on from that because that's a never-ending discussion, and there's so much research on all of the things that we discuss. And I challenge people to do your own research before you speak on something. You have to find out what are the numbers accurately and what's really going on. Step outside of your comfort zone. And it's not all about, how you were raised in your community because it extends outside of that. People are living there. They're not too many well off people. There are a lot more poor people than there are rich people or middle class. So you got to look at that as well. I want to get your input on the Kanye West thing, man.
What about Kanye
Like
West? Because he's making the news every time you turn around. He's making the
this
news.
live stream.
So
Yeah, I spoke on it yesterday
Walt,
with Walt, man. So yeah, me and him we touched on it, but what's your assessment on it?
no, you have to refresh my memory. What did he do now?
Oh, you got to watch this new interview that I guess we're gonna have to discuss it another time. You have to watch the interview, but let me um let me give you the short version. He did an interview and he wore a black Ku Klux Klan clothing on in the hoodie and all that, and was just speaking all over the place,
They
saying that
say
he's
a black,
God.
a black Ku Klux Klan.
I'm gonna send you the interview when we get off here. I'm gonna send it so you can
Mm-hmm.
watch it. But So I guess we're gonna skip that topic until you're able to watch it, but
Okay.
then we'll come back to it. What do you feel about all these rappers that are dying?
All these rappers that are dying.
Yeah,
Hey, we are our worst enemy, bro. It's us. It's us, bro. It's what do you call it? Is envy and jealousy. That's why they're dying. Beef. Too much beef is going on. Like for example, if me and you, if okay, if I move to the suburb, right? If I
uh-huh.
move to the suburb where no black people is, right? And I'm there, I'm gonna, you know, influenced by the neighborhood that I'm in. I'm in the suburb. Everybody, go to work. A lot of people go to college, and a lot of people go to good school, i.e., LeBron James' son. That's what I'm saying. For example, LeBron James' son. He live in the suburb, good community, good neighborhood. So he's gonna be influenced by what's around him. Okay? All right. Boom. You come in, Naeem. You move next door to me, or you move next door, next on the same street that I live on, right? I'm gonna see you, and I'm gonna say, "Hey, Naeem, what's going on? I'm glad you're here. Glad to see another brother here. We're doing good. Glad to see that you're doing well. We're living fine. Boom. We're going. Then another black, youth our age or whatever it is, moving two more, right? In the same neighborhood, probably the next street, around the corner or whatever. It's not gonna be long until we start beefing with each other, bro. And that's how the conflict start. We always find a way to beef with each other. For example, you wear Jordans, you wear the original Jordans, right? And I buy my Jordans online. It look the same, but it's fake. That's what I'm saying. So you're gonna say, yo, payback, where you get them Jordans from? Them Jordans look ugly as hell. That's what I'm saying. Those shits are fake. And you say, yo, fuck you, let me do my thing, whatever. And then that's how the beef start. And then, you disrespect me and I disrespect you, and then guess what? Your cousin got a gun. You know what I'm saying? They go get your cousin gun, or you go get your cousin, and then we're gonna start beefing. And that's how the community get fucked up. And then people gonna start moving out because we start beefing and we start killing each other. We always find a way to beef. And it's the same thing with the women too. What the women do is they're doing it a little bit different now. They're beefing online, and when they beef online, they find each other's address and they go beat them up. So it's the same thing with the rappers now. The rappers, they don't live in the hood. So the rappers say, yo, this and that, East Coast, West Coast. And then, they say, yo, Naeem is from the East Coast, he's dissing the West Coast. Oh, you can't come over here. If you come over here on the West Coast, we're gonna find you and we're gonna blow your brains out. That's what I'm talking about, Naeem.
Yeah, man, it's crazy. And now they got this new thing that you got to check in and all this. Check in
If
for what? What am I
checking
check
for
in
what?
for?
That's listen, man.
Man?
The Crips and Blood shit. That's the dumbest shit I ever hear, I ever seen. That's the dumbest shit. You want to check into a neighborhood that you don't own? It's the city neighborhood, dummy. That city belong to that neighborhood belong to the city where people pay their taxes. Your neighbors don't pay no taxes to you, dummy. They pay to the city. What you mean they gotta check into you? Who the fuck you think you is? You ain't nobody. Why they gotta check in for you? You hold off the block, you kill your own people, you go to jail, and you say, oh, this block is mine. This block ain't for you, it's for the city. They lock your ass up, and you sit down in the community and you're talking about, yo, I'm not going to work at McDonald's. I'm not going to work at this warehouse for no $15 an hour, but when you go to jail, you're working for $2 an hour.
Less than that. Less than that. That's the whole thing. I'm not going nowhere that I gotta check in. What I'm checking in for you, what you for? I don't know you. You know, like you don't even gotta check in with the police. What I'm checking in with you for? Because you trying to extort me or have me to where I'm your puppet, man. Yeah, that
Is
this
extortion. Is
yeah, that's
extortion.
basically
If
what
you come in, you
it
gotta
is.
check in with this person, and when you check in with this person, you gotta drop a bunch of ticket on this person so they can come to your concert, and you got a bunch of entourage behind you. Not, you see what I'm saying? Yo, this shit is stupid, bro. It is stupid, and I can't believe this shit's still going on now in 2025, bro. I can't believe this shit is stupid. This shit don't make no sense. It's dumb. And then
It- and it's going on by the even people older than you and I. People are older than you and I are trying to extort these youngins because they are successful and they want money out of them. It's like you're supposed to be teaching these kids better. Like I'm not checking in nowhere. I'm not checking in. I'm not giving nobody anything. Like that ain't happening over here. And I'm not even involved in that type of culture anyway. So I feel the same way that you feel. It's stupid, man. It's stupid.
this shit don't make no fucking sense whatsoever, bro. No sense. You can't listen. I heard right. Last year I even heard if you wear certain hat, you can get checked. I'm talking about sports. I'm talking about sports hat. I'm talking about baseball hat. If you wear a certain color with the symbol on it, remember these baseball companies and these what you call it company have their logo that they sell for each team. And I heard if you wear a certain fucking color with the logo on it, like a Philly red with a P on it, you're gonna get checked by a certain dude. This shit is dumb as fuck, bro. This shit don't make no sense.
I
Killing their
agree, man.
own people for dumb shit. For dumb
I
shit.
agree.
But if you move out the hood to try to say, listen, I'm get the fuck out of here, man. I'm trying to do better. They will kill you for that. Or they will try to find you and say, yo, you can't leave. This shit is stupid, bro. I can't believe it, man. Still going on. So that's why you have
Yeah,
these what do you call it? These beefs because there's envy and there's jealousy. Envy. This dude wearing a chain. Yo, I need that chain. They're robbing for a chain. Because the thing is, and it's a lot to do with socialism too because they think in the hood they think that when one person make it he's supposed to give away all his money to the rest of them even though they don't help him do shit. They don't help him do nothing. They don't help him, stay up late at night, sitting on the studio, floor, trying to get his music out there. You see what I'm saying? He's by himself, but as soon as he get a bus and his music is on the air, on the TV, and then you go back home, there's a gang of people around you looking for a fucking handout, thinking that hey, once you make something, you're supposed to share the wealth. You're not supposed to share shit. You're supposed to share it with your family members. But this dude from around the corner, across the street, on the next avenue, come to your fucking house looking for you for handout. Socialism, bro. They're thinking that whatever you make, you're supposed to pass it on to them. If you driving a car, you're supposed to give them a car too.
that's that entitlement, man.
This shit is crazy, bro.
Entitlement,
And if and
envy,
if they
jealousy.
can't get and if they
All
can't get to you, they send a pussy over your house to get you.
Yo, I we in trouble, bro. We're in trouble.
We've been in trouble, bro. We've been in trouble. We've been in trouble. We've been in trouble. And that's why the dudes that's why the dudes that make it and get out there and they're out there doing their thing and they decided that hey, maybe I need to try an interracial relationship. They get pushed back because they know, listen, if this dude get out of here and he go and he move on the other side of town and he's in an interracial relationship, that means this dude living good and this dude living life. So we can't get to him. That's where the jealousy start. The reason why some of these dudes are pushing back on some of these dudes because they cannot get to you, right? And you're not there to take care of their kids. Meaning that some of these chicks, right? They go out there, right? They have a bunch of children. The dude in jail or the dude got killed. So you as a man that make it and come up, you supposed to take on her with her kids, even though they're not yours. Even though you try to talk to her back then in high school, she don't want to give you no play. But as soon as you make it, you're supposed to go back in the community and get her with her bunch of kids.
And it's crazy, man.
And that's why these dudes don't the dudes that make it like a Jay-Z or like for example like a Jay-Z that make it and then he go back into the community and get a single mom, bro, he don't get any pushback because he's doing what he's supposed to do. Go back in the community and get him a single mom, right? He don't get no pushback. But if you decided that, hey, I don't need any single mom in the community because I don't want any conflict with your baby daddy. Oh shit, you a sellout and you need to die.
And there's so many issues, man. We'll be here all day talking about all this stuff. But we gotta do this again, brother. We
No problem,
definitely
man.
gotta do it again. And any last words before we get out of here?
Uh hey, it's what do you call it? Yeah, the black community is a Titanic, man. Get your life raft and get the fuck out. It's not gonna get any better, bro. It's not gonna get it. It's not. I don't see any way out of this, man. Even if we come together, you're gonna always have some backstabber. One or two out of the, like for example, like if we decided that hey, we're gonna buy up a block, five of us gonna buy up a block. There's somebody in one of those guys' ears telling that, yo, you don't have to do this with these niggas, bro. You can do it by yourself. And then that's how the
Remember,
backstabbing start.
remember when I was trying to get everybody together to do stuff together. You saw I got backstabbed too. So
Yeah,
you know what it is, man.
yeah.
So
I don't see any way out of this, man, because
current.
but to leave on a good note, some of the sisters they are doing good and they're making their money. And what I saw with the sisters making their money, they're putting other sisters on and they're leaving the boys behind. You notice that? If a sister make it and start making thousands and millions, they put each other on and show them how to make it. But us, black men, we don't teach each other shit. We don't say, yo, let me put you on. No, they don't do that.
It's a lot of jealousy and envy, man,
It's a
and
lot of
greed.
listen, don't get me wrong. The sisters, they don't get along with each other, bro. They don't. They will fight each other and beat each other up. But when it comes to getting the bag, they will put each other on just to flex on the man. Say, listen, I got my own shit. I don't need no man. Because that's the only time they come together is to flex on the man and to take down the man. Take him for child support, all of that stuff. They will come together for that.
You made a lot of great points, man. Made a
I've
lot of
seen
great.
it.
I mean, we both have seen it.
Yeah.
Both have seen it from different spectrums of life. You traveled abroad, I traveled abroad, interacted with many different people, so we see it all the time.
Right.
The
And
only
that's
thing
all.
we can
Yeah.
do is just pray and be positive and just live our lives, man, because you don't want to get caught up out here. 'Cause there's a lot of drama out here. There's a lot of toxic things that's going on, and they try to pull you back in within the community. You just got to be smart enough to stay away from it. So,
Yeah, man. So that's all I gotta say, bro. Let's wrap it up and we continue this topic.
yeah, I'm gonna send you that Kanye West interview, man. I'm gonna send
All
it to
right.
you right after I here, so you can watch it. But
All right, bro.
peace and love to everybody, and peace and love, payback. Peace.
All right, no problem, bro. Later.